Hello, welcome to Week in Review with me, Adam Bolton, in this week. Kevin Maguire and Andrew Pearce are here, of course, to look back at the biggest stories of the past 7 days. So, gentlemen, what were your top stories, Andrew?
I'm still dizzy from the Donald Trump press conference and the extraordinary dossier alleging all sorts of remarkable things.
So, Donald Trump shock.
Yeah,
what about you, Kevin?
Trump, a huge international story, but here in Britain, I think it's the NHS crisis. The Tory NHS crisis has arrived.
All right, well, let's look at that one first. That is our top story, the pressure on the NHS. Failed targets for accidents and emergency departments and a lack of hospital beds led to political rows about how to solve the crisis. Sky's Adele Robinson visited the emergency unit of Kingsmill Hospital in Nottinghamshire. She sent us this report.
1 hour in A&E in Nottinghamshire. This is just a snapshot on a supposed quiet day midwinter. Here at Kingsmill Hospital, they've seen a 7.5% increase in demand for the first 10 days of January compared to last year. Hello. 76-year-old Ellen was worried about coming in because of the well-publicised recent pressures on A&E.
No need to worry. As I said, I wasn't going to get into my doctor's until Friday week. I couldn't wait that long, too much pain.
In this department, they've achieved an average of 95% over the past 3 months for the 4-hour emergency waiting target, but have struggled in the last couple of weeks because of the sheer number of patients. So whether it's extra funding, more staff or better social care, it's clear a long-term plan needs to be the focus.
We know the NHS gets stretched over Christmas, and it has been very tough this year. We've managed to cope well because of the things we've had in place earlier through the year, but we're at the point now where we need to make some urgent changes.
This trust was 11th in the country for emergency department performance back in November, but on average up to 20 extra ambulances have arrived here every day since the start of the year. It seems there's no immunity to winter pressures, no matter where you are.
Kevin, what do you think? I mean, is this another winter crisis, or can we not go on like this, and is the health of the government really in danger now?
I think it's much bigger than we usually have, and it's on Theresa May's watch. She seems very complacent. Look, the NHS is the closest thing we have to a national religion. Nurses, doctors perform miracles every week, but it's struggling to cope because spending hasn't gone up enough. Simon Stevens, the head of the NHS in England, says it's actually going to fall in real terms per head in a couple of years. It is a real crisis, and stacking people up on trolleys because they can't be treated is not an answer. Look, we're supposed to be the 6th biggest economy in the world, and the Red Cross might have overstated it by saying a humanitarian crisis, but it is a crisis.
Andrew, you can't trust the Tories in the NHS.
It's a mess. It's a mess for the Tories too. And the big problem is social care. There's not enough money for social care because money's been cut to councils. So there's too many people in beds who shouldn't be in beds, who should be released into old people's homes. The other problem is, and it's all to do with the contracts of GPs that were negotiated under his lot, GP surgeries are closed for large parts of the week. They're closed in the afternoons, they're closed in the evenings. You can't get into the GP at the weekend. So people are instead migrating to A&Es. Of course they are. Too many people are going to A&E, but there is a real problem, and I think they're going to have to start thinking about bringing in some form of charging to the NHS because it cannot go on like this.
Your lot cut £4 billion from social care. That's a huge amount of money. That's caused a big problem. But there's no point just saying GPs should be open evenings and weekends. I agree with that. But if you're going to have them open evenings and weekends, you need money for that, or you're going to have fewer GPs open during the day. So then patients won't be able to be seen by the doctor, and they'll have to then go to A&E. Yes, there are structural problems, but there's a fundamental financial problem that we don't put enough money into the NHS.
So the NHS, our top story in a busy news week. Here are some of the headlines which you might have missed. Commuters in the south of England faced a difficult few days. A strike by London Underground staff shut down most of the tube on Monday. It was followed by 3 days of action by employees of Southern Rail as their long-running dispute continued. The former England football manager Graham Taylor died at the age of 72. He led the national team between 1990 and 1993 and also managed Watford and Aston Villa. Professor Anthony King, one of the country's leading political experts and election analysts, also passed away this week. Amongst those paying tribute was the Speaker of the House of Commons, John Bercow, who he taught at the University of Essex. The Speaker described Professor King as a colossus. Snow and rainstorms led to flood warnings along the east coast of England. Residents of one village in Essex were told to leave their homes. There were snow and ice alerts across large parts of the rest of the country. It was announced that a major road running past Stonehenge would be diverted into a new tunnel underneath it. Opponents say it could damage the site. However, English Heritage and the National Trust have backed the scheme, saying it will ease traffic and hide it from the visitors to the monument. Well, normally we'd have a gaffe of the week at this point, but this week we thought we'd opt for a quote of the week. As he prepares to leave office, President Obama made his farewell speech in Chicago.
If I had told you 8 years ago that America would reverse a Great Recession, reboot our auto industry, and unleash the longest stretch of job creation in our history, if I had told you that we would win marriage equality and secure the right to health insurance for another 20 million of our fellow citizens, if I had told you all that, you might have said our sights were set a little too high. But that's what we did.
Well, don't forget you can send us your nominations for Quote or Gaffe of the Week using the hashtag WNRObama. You going to miss him, Andrew?
That just shows what a class act he really was. Although he used that famous expression, yes we can, yes we did. I don't think he did really. I think he's left a terrible vacuum on the foreign policy stage. Terrible. Syria is a mess and that happened on his watch. Russia is
well, he would say my job was to get America out of wars and
maybe,
I've done that.
Maybe, yeah, but now President Putin is now posing as the international peacekeeper and that can't be good. And I do think America should have had a more important role. He did say there was a red line in Syria. If Assad used chemical weapons against his people, he did.
You know, you look at 2003, he opposed the Iraq war when Hillary Clinton supported it, as did Donald Trump at the time, whatever he pretends now. And you can argue, and I think quite right, Syria's a mess, but he did, after that red line, get Assad to decommission chemical weapons, and his balance sheet is far more on the plus than the negative.
I mean, he would say that, you know, his real legacy is the state of the economy, that the car industry is back on its feet, that he did the bailouts.
But then the other part of the legacy is this. How come then, if it was so great, how come the American people have picked Donald Trump as president? Isn't that his real legacy?
Life isn't fair, perhaps.
Yeah, isn't that his real legacy?
Well,
because a lot of poorer, disadvantaged people felt cut off because they thought he was too close to Wall Street, and somehow the billionaire Donald Trump posed as the champion of the underclass.
Clinton won a majority of those earning less than 40,000, but there's no doubt they've hit out. And let's not forget, she won the popular vote by 2.9 million, but he won the Midwest and the former slave states.
Trump, it is going to be Donald Trump as President Obama's successor. And President-elect Trump began the week involved in a spat with the Oscar winner Meryl Streep and ended it by denying the validity of a report claiming Russia had compromising personal and financial information about him. And he hasn't even started the job. Sky's Hannah Thomas-Peter reports from New York City.
Arriving in the lobby of his New York headquarters, Trump faced his greatest test since the election. But at his first news conference since July, his team, rocked by the publication of an unverified report that alleges secret connections to Russia, the president-elect was in fighting form and levelled his own extraordinary accusations.
It was disgraceful that the intelligence agencies allowed any information that turned out to be so false and fake out. I think it's a disgrace. And I say that, and that's something that Nazi Germany would have done and did do.
There was little love lost between Trump and journalists driving the latest scandal.
As far as BuzzFeed, which is a failing pile of garbage, writing it, I think they're going to suffer the consequences. They already are.
Sir, since you're attacking us, can you give us a question?
Go ahead.
No, Mr. President-elect.
Go ahead. Go ahead. No, not you. Not you. Your organization's terrible. Your organization's terrible. Let's go. Go ahead. Quiet. Quiet. Go ahead. She's asking a question. Don't be rude. Don't be rude. Don't be rude. No, I'm not going to give you a question. I'm not going to give you a question. You are fake news.
Extraordinary stuff. He didn't get round to the Daily Mirror, Kevin, but I suspect there isn't mutual admiration there.
Well, I suppose given the number of times I've called him a lion, racist, sexual predator, I wouldn't be first on his list. But we can see that in politics, the theory, Darwin's theory of evolution doesn't apply when you go from a barber to that oath. But he's got an incredible way of behaving. And one of he's got the ethics problem. Meryl Streep he'd praised in the past, then he turns on her. But the problem he's got with his Russian dossier, and remember, he was the beneficiary. His campaign was a beneficiary of Russian hacking. Quite how much we don't know, but it was the beneficiary. His problem he's got is people believe it might be true. I've no idea whether it is or not, but because of everything else he has done, you believe it might be true.
He just could have behaved with a bit more dignity. I don't know if he knows what the word means, but
he gave us a lecture in manners there. Don't be rude.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've all been covering press conferences for many, many years. I've never seen a performance like it. At times, I thought I could hear the white coats flapping. It was deranged, the entire performance. And that, you know, he's got to work with the Fourth Estate, whether he likes it or not, and he's got to work with the intelligence services. And that performance made people think, what's he got to hide?
He's a serial liar. He's launched more fake news than probably any other politician in the history of the USA.
Yeah, but I mean, none of us work for organisations that we would consider to be fake news.
No, absolutely not.
But we're all being tarnished, aren't we?
Absolutely, and that's the problem. He is the President of the United States, and he's got a big clunking fist, and he's whacked us, and it's very damaging for all of us, I think.
However wacky you are, if he agrees with you and you support him, you're okay. If you disagree with it, it doesn't matter how strong the evidence is, it'll be fake news. That's just how he operates. I think it's very bad for America. I think it's bad for the world. And blimey, they're going to regret it.
Is there going to be a problem for number 10 because of this suggestion that number 10 somehow gave the nod to this former MI6 man to hand the dossier over to the FBI? We don't know if that's true, but they're trying to drag number 10 into it too.
Right, time for a quick quiz. Can you tell me why there is a Jedi in the jungle?
No.
All right, we will find out in a moment.
Oh, we're live. Hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
So we came back. We left the place empty-handed. As you can see.
For the people who didn't see the previous mobile live stream.
Oh, sorry.
We just left the puppy adoption center, and there were all kinds of dogs there, not just puppies. And let me close the window. Yeah, there were all kinds of dogs there, not just puppies. And unfortunately, they didn't have a lot of the puppies we wanted to get.
Yeah. We were looking to trade in this guy back here to get a younger, cuter, better looking one.
Bigger one, too.
A bigger one. Bigger is always better.
Bigger is always better. Hi, guys. You can see us. Okay. But yeah, so what type of dog do we want is the question, right? We adopted Cooper. He was adopted. And we actually don't know if we want to go to a, what's it called, honey?
A breeder.
The breeder, yeah.
Yeah, because we found him at a shelter, and we've been looking for a couple months now, but it's been so hard.
I think we've gone approved by 3 places. Yeah. A German Shepherd place rejected us, which was really unbelievable.
Apparently, here in California, I don't know if it's the same in other places, but we got disapproved because we have no experience raising German Shepherds.
And apparently, I grew up with a Shepherd. I told them I grew up with a German Shepherd.
That's not good enough.
And they told me the reason I can't have a German Shepherd is because I grew up with one.
But he didn't raise it.
And I didn't raise it. I'm like, okay, whatever.
How ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
So,
but it's not like, they took a look at our house. We have a big house. We have a dog. He was already well trained. It was surprising. But what dog would you want to get?
I think a lab mix would be good. You know what?
So we're thinking bigger than
He
Cooper.
wants bigger. But
I want
the thing
bigger.
is, look at Cooper. He's a Border Collie mix, and I think Border Collies are the smartest dogs. And I want the same...
Because you're mommy right now over Cooper. So.
I want the same personality. I want it to be easily trainable.
Oh, well, it's easily trainable because I did all the training.
That's true. So, I'm leaning towards a Border Collie mix, something just like Cooper. If I could clone Cooper, that's what I want.
Stop smiling.
What do I feel bad about?
By the way, thank you for the great comments, all the support, and I did not realize how many people are actually going through the same thing. Every comment was encouraging. Every comment told me a story. I read I think I read like 800 out of the 1,000 comments, and I got to catch up on all of them. Every single one I read, I either replied back, which are so many I didn't reply to many of them, but like maybe